Welcome to Timeball Games. I'm ELD, here to ask you for help in growing the channel. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber. So be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Timeball Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Matthew on Reanimator, mulling against Connor, who's kept his 7 on Miracles. This matchup typically going to be either really fast or really slow. We're going to find out if Reanimator has what it takes to... Ooh, is that a... You know what? I think this is actually not Reanimator. This is Hogaak again. This deck just creeping in all over the place. Matthew, again, typically a Reanimator player. Looks like he's made the change to be playing Hogaak, which is also capable of being super grindy. So this has incredibly explosive starts that are possible, but it also has a lot of game in terms of grinding out your opponent. Going after them with Cabal Therapy, Recurring Threats, and Carrion Feeder. One of those cards that actually makes Connor's removal less than optimal. Matthew's going to be able to sacrifice creatures in response. Oh, he actually opts for the life. I disagree with that play. And we'll see how this goes. I think that card is much better off in the graveyard to be able to convoke. Or delve, I should say. And now an Altar of Dementia. And that is worth Force of Willing for sure. Those unfamiliar, Altar allows you to actually combo out with Hogaak, as you can use Hogaak to mill yourself and actually net massive amounts of power based off of Bridge from Below, which you'll eventually find. Stitcher Supplier. Getting a Vengevine. Can we see another creature? Right now he's facing down Monastery Mentor. The second creature is Hogaak, which brings back the Vengevine, swings for 4, and Connor, backpedaling here, is down to just 9 life. He passes the turn. A Bridge from Below, not an exciting card to draw. And swinging with everything, he's going to need a Miracle. Predict. Matthews looks like he's going to be fine with letting this resolve. It is a Misty Rainforest, and that does not get the job done. No Terminus on top of the library. Reanimator takes a blazing fast win with that hasty Vengevine, and then, of course, Hogaak, a little bit slower, but coming in and hitting for 8 is very difficult to deal with. And that Altar... I mean, realistically, if that Altar lands, that game is just pretty much over on the spot. So powerful. You're able to mill yourself, get the Hogaak in play, continue milling yourself, and then eventually start milling out your opponent. Every time you use Hogaak with 4 bridges in the graveyard, you get 4 zombies. Which really decreases the requirement. You can basically tap Hogaak and the 4 zombies, only delve 3 cards, and then you can sacrifice the Hogaak to get 4 more zombie tokens. Yeah, the milling is just brutal. Even if you don't have the Altar, looping Hogaaks, just casting them into each other, because they're legendary, does trigger the Die's ability for all of those Bridge from Belows, getting 4 zombies each iteration. So, card's just super strong and right at home in Legacy. I really enjoy the power level of Legacy for that reason. Hogaak kind of ran roughshod over the other formats. Well, I guess mostly just Modern, but still, Legacy can handle itself. Legacy has a high enough power level that these new busted cards, by and large, are going to be okay. Very few exceptions to that. Renin 6 was deemed too good. Well, Matthew here mulling down to 4. Oko, there's talks of if Oko is too good. I'm actually not sure. I really don't know what to make of Oko yet. Looking forward to getting back to Paper Magic. I mean, it's a very powerful card. Does happen that many of the decks that I play don't really care too much about them. A Mystic Sanctuary, lackluster start for Connor. However, Matthews got a Once Upon a Time. That's a card that's largely in there to up the green count. It is fine. Being able to dig for your... Ooh, Rest in Peace, stopping this otherwise strong draw of Hedron Crab. You really do want a high enough green count to be able to support your Force of Vigor, which is one of your best answers to the type of nasty sideboard answers you run up against. Rest in Peace, Leyline of the Void, amongst the best. Hedron Crab does some milling. And a Carrion Feeder. And we've seen this before. Just the ability to actually beat down in spite of sideboard hate. Something that makes Hogaak kind of unique. There's really, if you're playing Dredge, the prospect of hardcasting Stinkweed Imps and Golgari Thugs is not particularly exciting. But Hogaak does that better than most. Your threats are actually somewhat reasonably costed. And a whole lot of milling. Not likely to be of consequence. It is within the realm of possibilities to hit all of Miracle's win conditions, which occasionally I'll get a free win from that. A Snapcaster Mage. Just playing the role of Ambush Viper. No access to the graveyard thanks to Rest in Peace. The slower option when compared to Leyline of the Void, but it is castable. And Matthew going after Connor's library. Now, probably the most useful element of the Hedron Crab is the ability to play with the Miracles side of things. We're losing a Stitcher Supplier and a Bridge from below. And similarly, Hedron Crab now playing some defense, stopping Predict from being an efficient spell. Now Connor's going to be just hitting a random card. Ooh, and actually hits his own Surgical Extraction. Not super relevant now that Rest in Peace is on board. And Jace the Mind Sculptor, and this should probably be a wrap from here. We've got Fate Sealing, putting a card to the bottom. And Force of Vigor being hard cast. So no green card, so this is not being pitched. It's actually main phased, so Connor doesn't get an untap. And Force of Negation. So it's played on Matthew's turn, meaning Connor can play Force of Negation. Either way, he was going to be able to use it this way. At least he gets another blue card out of Connor's hand. Otherwise, he would have been able to hard cast it. The only exception there would be if somehow Connor would have committed his mana to tap off of the Force of Negation, which is a pretty big ask once you've got Jace the Mind Sculptor down and literally just need to make sure you don't die. Fate Sealing. Gets an Altar of Dementia. Jace just keeps ticking up. Vengevine. And it looks like a hard cast Force was signaled there, meaning Vengevine will not be able to play around with Jace's loyalties. Instead, we're on to game number 3. All right, game 3 here. Matthew with a stronger start, leading out with a Stitcher Supplier, mills himself, has a Cabal Therapy in hand. And now Rest in Peace is going to feel significantly worse than Leyline, as Matthew's going to be able to take a stab at Connor's hand and then flash back as well, continuing to mill himself. Surgical snags Hogaak. And now Matthew's going to have to do this the hard way, but he is going to get multiple cracks at Connor's hand. We'll see what he goes with for the first Cabal Therapy, or responding further, perhaps with a Brainstorm. Yeah, well, he's got it all. He's got a Surgical in response and a Brainstorm in response. It's going to be 2 cards actually connecting now. There's a Swords to Plowshares, Monastery Mentor, Snapcaster, Predict, Terminus. So Predict and Snapcaster, the slower of the cards. Oh, and a Rest in Peace off the top, hidden with that Brainstorm. But he's got the Assassin's Trophy for it. Oh, he actually Force of Vigored with Assassin's Trophy. Or did he? No, he got a land out of it. Hedron Crab. Gets Force of Willed. I've liked that card for a very long time. It is greatly amusing to me to be saying that Hedron Crab is getting Force of Willed in Legacy. That is a card that I wanted to use in World Gorger Dragon a few years back. Never got around to working on a build, but I think it would be extremely good. You do just win the game with the Hedron Crab, milling out your opponent, and it also gets the World Gorger into your graveyard. Mystic Sanctuary. Gets a Predict. And Entreat the Angels. Just making a 4/4. Stitcher Supplier. Mills gets a Vengevine into the graveyard. And he needs to pass. And now a fetch land from Connor would be very good, as it would get Entreat the Angels back on top. Predict gets Surgical off the top of the library. And without Hogaak, this build is looking significantly weaker. We've got a fetch. And a 4-mana last-ditch effort here. Entreat is going to make a whole bunch of Angels, and Miracles manages to kind of stabilize in the mid-game, actually winning the race with Angels, despite Hogaak, mounting a bit of an offensive. What an interesting game. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.